Assalamu alaikum friends. The next video. So we just discussed in the last video that SAP is a company and SAP has a wide variety of product portfolio. There are many products SAP has produced. Some of them have been developed by SAP themselves. Some of them have been taken over. For example, SuccessFactors is the latest HR solution, cloud-based HR solution of SAP, which originally is not an SAP product. Rather, SAP has taken over it. SAP has purchased the SuccessFactor. And now it is part of SAP. Similarly, Ariba is a portal. It's a B2B portal. It was not originally by SAP, but it was taken over by SAP. And some of the products are originally by SAP and they are developing over time. One of them, which we are using, is actually SAP ERP. The earlier version was SAP ERP ECC 6. And from 2015 onwards, SAP has developed the new version, which is SAP S4HANA. Remember, SAP S4HANA, when we name it as a product, is not a product per se, rather it is a package of product. So before moving forward, let's understand some basic concepts about it. That is, the first important thing is that there is something known as SAP HANA, right? So SAP, although I don't have the pen, so I'm sorry, it doesn't look very nice to write it over here, but somehow SAP HANA. Now remember, SAP HANA is actually a technical platform. It's a collection of hardware and software which SAP delivers, which runs now majority of the SAP products. And SAP HANA has certain features which differentiate it with other platforms. And if you want to know some technical details of this platform, for example, uh, it is an in-memory based in-memory computation based platform. It means that most of the data, before that it is written on the hard drives, it is analyzed and can be computed and can be used while it is in the memory. So there are plenty of technological advances in SAP HANA. So this is the technical platform. When we say SAP S4 HANA, right? So then we insert a new term over here, which is S4. So let's write it with a separate pen. So when we say S4, S4 means suit 4, or if we pronounce it in American pronunciation, it's suite 4, SUIT suite 4. So SAP Suite for HANA is actually a package of product which is developed to work on SAP HANA. And SAP Suite for HANA has many applications, right? One of the core applications is SAP ERP, and the other applications are SAP CRM, SAP SCM, SAP PLM, SAP SRM. Some of them have we have seen in the previous slide, for example, these ones. So all these applications which you can see over here, these are actually part of SAP Business Suite. They were earlier in ECC 6, and now ECC 6 was the ERP version. So they were earlier in the SAP Business Suite, and now they're part of S4HANA Suite. So S4HANA Suite is actually a collection of a product. Just like Microsoft Office is a collection of products, we have Word, we have Excel, we have PowerPoint, which are different applications. Similarly, SAP S4HANA is a collection of different applications, and SAP ERP is one of the main applications which is being used by most of the companies in Pakistan, more than 400 clients in Pakistan, and most of the companies in pharmaceutical, in FMCG, in oil and gas, Shell, PSO, Unilever, you name the industry and you will find SAP there. So they are all using actually SAP ERP, not ERM. I'm sorry, it is SAP ERP. So I'm sorry for this bad presentation over here because I don't have the pen proper, nor I have eraser at this point of time. So ERP is the main application. Some of the companies are using ERP's earlier version, which was ECC 6, and some of the companies are using ERP version as part of the S4 HANA. And both of the versions are almost identical. So, but we are actually going to practice on the latest version. And this is the actually you should know where we are, which product we are going to use. So we are going to use SAP S4 HANA. This is a business suite. This is the package of product, and this product there is an application in SAP ERP. And within ERP, as we have discussed earlier, we have three applications: logistics, finance, and human capital management. So we are going to work in finance, and in finance we have again some more applications. So we are going to work mostly in the financial accounting and one submodule in the management accounting. Now, before that we move further, we should understand the different roles that one can assume broadly in an ERP environment, in an SAP ERP environment. Whenever we talk about an ERP system, this is an information system, and information system is all about data. So whatever data is there in the information system, it takes broadly, it can be divided into three sets. The first set of data is known as the organization data, and this is the data which is created when this application is to be used for the very first time. When we use the application for the very first time, we need to define what is the name of the company, how many departments the company has, what are the other companies, subsidiary or associated companies in the group, what is the organization structure of the company. So organization data is actually defining the organization structure. For example, if we implement SAP at IBA, we need to, first of all, before that we take attendance on SAP, before we take other business processes on SAP, first of all we need to define an SAP. We need to define that IBA is a company, for example, and then within IBA we have two campuses, then we have so many programs, and we have grade programs and undergrad programs. So these are all the organizational data, structure data, and these are have this has to be defined first. These have to be configured first, because unless this data is present, we cannot move on. Because whenever I take attendance, for example, which is basically the transaction data, first of all I should know where the class is happening. Is it in city campus or main campus? So the transaction data must link to organization data. Every data has to some sort of linkage to the organization data. So this is the first set of data, and creating organizational data is the function of the people who actually do the configuration in SAP. So the certified people who do the configuration, they create the organizational data according to the requirement of the organization. And this is a huge process. Whenever we implement an ERP in an environment, we study the business process, we study the company first, the client first, and then we create the organizational data according to the requirements of the client. And this is something which we are not going to do. We shall be provided with the pre-configured organization data. We shall be provided with a sample company. The name of the company we shall be working on is Global Bike. This is a bicycle manufacturing company. It has certain factories, so the factories have already been defined. It has certain just like certain campuses in an education institution, the company has certain factories which are known as plants. The company has certain storage locations, so they are all defined where the goods are stored. The sun company has certain distribution channels from where the goods are being distributed to the customers, and the company has certain purchasing organizations which take care of all the purchasing activities. So these are all types of organization data. Remember, this is not a conclusive list. There can be other items here, and we shall see in detail what are the ones important for the financial accounting purposes. Then comes the master data. Once the organizational data is configured, we need to create the master data. The main difference between the master data and the transaction data is that master data is relatively permanent data, whereas the transition data is date specific or time specific data. For example, in a manufacturing company, when we sell something to a customer, when the customer comes to us for the very first time, we create the data of the customer. For example, the customer name, its NTN number, its sales X number, its details, its address, its communication method, its email, responsible person, etc., etc. So the customer is actually creating the customer is a master data. Remember that when we create a customer, we are not passing any entry in terms of debits and credits. We are just creating the placeholder for debits and credits, the master data. Similarly, a vendor is a master data. A material means product is a master data. In SAP, SAP has its own proprietary terminology. So when we say material in SAP environment, it means a product. And this product can be a raw material, it can be semi-finished goods, or it can be finished goods. A person or an employee is a master data. For example, the name of the person and its employee number, etc., etc. Then once we create the master data, then we need to create the transaction data. And remember, while creating master data, we must link the master data with the organizational data, because when we create an employee, we need to tell the system to which company code this employee belongs, to which plant this employee is going to work on. Similarly, master data has to be linked with the organization data, and the transaction data has to link with the master data, which eventually links it with the organization data as well. Transaction data is data for a purchase, for example, a purchase order, an invoice. So these are the data from the accounting point of view. These are the journal entries, which are all the transaction data. But as we shall see that in an ERP environment, which are basically based on not only on account recording for accounting entries, but for something which cannot be recorded in accounting journals. For example, a quotation, a sales order. These are typically not accounting transactions per se, because there is no exchange of economic resources, but still we record them in the system, ERP system, and they are known as the transaction data. So remember the definition of the transaction, it is not purely an accounting definition when we say transaction data. Transaction data means day-to-day data, day-specific data. So a customer is not data specific, an employee is not data specific, but a quotation is always a data specific. An invoice can be a different invoice today, it can be a different invoice tomorrow. So there will be a different invoice next month. So these are the data specific data. This data is actually created by the end users. This data, master data, is created by the power users, and the organization data is actually created by the people who do the configuration, who are the certified people. Where we need to work on, we shall work on the transaction data and the master data. So we shall also work on the master data. Remember, for every single application, for example financial accounting, there is a different set of master data and transaction data and organization data. For materials management module, for example, for sales distribution module, there are different set of master data, transaction data, and organization data. So we are focusing on financial accounting. Going forward, when we are going to access the ERP system, SAP ERP system, it is actually installed and implemented at a server which is placed in Germany right now. If we are a group of companies, and then this server might be placed in our own data rooms, and of course different people access the server. So the access stations are known as the clients. So it's a sort of a client server environment. It means the main application resides in the servers. This server can be either on the cloud, or it can be in our own data houses, and the people access the server by the client. Now, how to access the server? Earlier, in the earlier version of SAP, there is only one access point, which was known as GUI. So this is actually graphical user interface, GUI. This was one access option, access application, which was delivered by SAP for the earlier versions. But for now, in the latest version, SAP delivers two different doors to access SAP. One is the user access, the GUI, graphical user interface. So it is known as SAP GUI, and the other is known as the Fury, which is the latest version of SAP, which is more user friendly, which is more visual friendly as well. Not only user friendly, but it's also looking very attractive and relatively easy to operate. So we shall work in both of them. And remember, although it has not been mentioned here by words, but we have two access points to access SAP system. SAP system has to be installed on the servers, implemented on the servers, and we access through the clients. Through the clients, we can access either through GUI, graphical user interface. This is an application. We can download this application, or if this application is net-based, then we can access it through Chrome or Internet Explorer as well. The second access point is Fury. Again, this can be accessed directly from Chrome, or we can download the application on Android devices or Apple devices. So this is the basic information which you should know before we move forward with further content in SAP. Thank you.